Yeah, well, I am a podcaster, and it's become really one of the things that I like to be known for. And so, what I thought I would just share with you guys is the three things that I think you need to know in order to start a podcast. And it's basically there's three areas of questions that I will get. The first one is, what should I talk about? And that is really relating to your message and your voice. For most podcasters, I tell them to spend a lot of time here, figure it out, figure out you don't have to you have to nail your branding right away, but you do need to nail your audience right away. You need to know who you want to talk to, what kind of value you're going to give them, and kind of how you're going to serve them best. um, that message and voice will help. It's okay to do some practice runs to figure that out. Did you do any practice runs when you first started?
I didn't because I'd listened to about 3,000 Entrepreneur on Fire episodes, and it was a very similar format. So
Nice. All right, so you got that down. I did a bunch, but you can do things like that, and it'll take you a while to get comfortable behind the mic, but that's okay. The other one is technology. That's the second thing. Everybody's worried. I think technology is the piece that holds a lot of people back. Even if once they have an idea, they know what they're going to do. They want to know what kind of microphone they have to get and how am I going to do all this. There's really not that many questions that you have to answer in the technology piece. You need you need a way to record your voice, so you need a microphone. You need a way to edit your content, and you need someplace for it to live. That's really it. Once you make those decisions, it's a lot easier. You could do every single one of those things for free. I don't recommend it, um, because I think if you're going to do it, you should invest in it a little bit. But if you need to, and it's, well, things are scarce for you, that's okay. Do that, but it's worth investing just a little bit. Here's the other thing: you can always upgrade. So this microphone that I've got is a Heil PR40, and it's one of the premier microphones that you'll see people use and recommend. I didn't start with that. I started with a different microphone. It's still a pretty good microphone, but it's one I just had, and so I started out using that just because I had it, and I was recording on this dumpy little laptop that needed extra RAM. It kept dropping all of my stuff, and so I'd have this wonderful little monologue and not be able to share it with the world. That was so frustrating, but I kept going because I was motivated to get it done. Um, so whatever your equipment, even if your equipment works against you, start, right? Start and get going, and don't be hindered by having to make those decisions. You don't actually have to make that many decisions. The third thing is, how do you promote and grow your show? And that's the question. Once you become a podcaster, everybody wants to know, because it can take some time. This is where, if you haven't nailed your branding, you need to figure that out. Knowing your audience will come in. Also, I am convinced that there's really only a few strategies that I've used, which is to get people on the show who already have audiences, and have them come on the show. That didn't start out right away. My approach was, I had people at my church. I would just interview them, or people that I ran into, and I would start saying, "Hey, you got an interesting story. Would you come on my show?" And they would say yes, surprisingly, right? Because everybody's thrilled to talk about themselves. And then, so that'd be great. And then I started to ask people online, and reach out. Richard Jacobson was the first guy that I talked to that I didn't know before the interview, and he had a whole platform, and he was willing to share his story with me and share my podcast with his people. That was amazing. And then as I've gone, I've worked my way up until, like I said, I've interviewed Oz Guinness. I think he's probably one of the biggest names that I've been able to interview. I've got a few others I'm looking for, but we'll see. So that's one strategy. I think don't be afraid to share your work. This is one that really frustrates me a lot. If you're gonna make something, don't do it unless you're ready to share it. Like, unless you're going to share it, even if it's not perfect, you should share it. So if you create a podcast, share it on Facebook. Find different places that will let you share it with them, whether it's in Facebook groups or pages. um, you be on Twitter, starting conversations, interacting with conversations. I'm not in love with Instagram right now, but you should be on Instagram too, right? And a whole bunch of post on LinkedIn every week. because I want people to hear about my show, about my work, about what I'm curating for them. Um, don't be shy about that. I've worked with a lot of Christian leaders, or not leaders necessarily, but Christian content creators who have a service or have something, and they're afraid to be self promotional. Well, you're not. You're promoting your value for your audience, and that's important. So you the three things are: you have to decide what's your message and voice, what kind of technology you're gonna do, and those are simple choices. And how are you going to promote and grow your show? Give it time. That's the last thing there. It does take time. You're not Nobody's going to just discover you because you released an audio recording. You have to keep just putting it out there over and over again. And like I said earlier, deciding you're going to do it at one time and hold yourself to it, that will make all the difference.